Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So excited to be here and graced to be here and blessed to be here one more day, right? And so glad all of you could join us. I am most grateful for our guest tonight, Miss Elena. Elena has a solution that I think we're going to love. A couple of weeks ago, um, we talked to an accounting service that has like the fractional CFO service that they offer personally. I like this conversation tonight because Elena has taken that like to the 10th degree, right? Where she's built us a solution. So now, we don't necessarily have to engage at the same level person to person because she's built a whole system that does the thing, right? And you guys know I love tech. I love tech solutions. I definitely love tech solutions that allow us from a business standpoint to be more efficient, be more effective, right? Be more accurate, but also from a personal accounting standpoint, this solution works as well. So, which is really why I love it because it's not just for a business; it's for just everyday people like us who are trying to keep track. Right? We're talking about building wealth all the time, but we need to continue to talk more about how do we manage it better, right? How do we keep it longer, right? So it's not just about gaining the wealth. There's all the other stuff in between that doesn't sound as attractive, right? Nobody ever puts that on a t-shirt, right? And so tonight we're going to talk a little bit about that. So Elena, thank you so much for joining us. We always start out on our Monday wealth building sessions by having our guests introduce themselves, tell us all about who you are, how we got here, right, to this venture, all of the things that we know that are amazing about you that led up to this moment. How did we get here?
Okay, great. Well, hello everybody. My name is Elena Colquitt, and I am the founder and CEO of Epoch Harvest. As Tawana touched on, we have a proprietary software by the name of MoneyMate. I kind of came up with the idea for this software after helping to support small business owners and individuals when it came to their cash flow management, which is huge. When I was in banking, as I referred to in my past life, I was constantly talking to people about overdraft fees, late fees, high interest rates, all the things that kind of cause them to have a lot of wasteful spending. And, we all go to work, we work very hard, and we want our money to go as far as possible for us to work as hard as it can because you're working as hard as it can. So you want to be spinning your wheels. So, when I started doing financial consulting, I realized like how monotonous it was. I was doing the same thing over and over. And I was like, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. And so I ended up writing a provisional patent for MoneyMate in 2014. The patent was issued in 2019. And then we began raising capital to build the software in 2021. We launched our beta in March of 2023. And then we kind of use it internally. So it's myself and three other finance managers. We all have our own book of businesses. I support 28 individuals and small business owners. And then they kind of carry their own client load based on their availability because they also have full-time jobs, but they're super passionate about finance. One of my finance managers, Dale, for example, has been in corporate finance for over 27 years, but he's retired and he doesn't want to be bored. So he wants to help some small business owners with his skills that he's honed over
All
almost
right,
three
Dale,
decades.
thank you.
Yeah, so Dale is awesome. He's a great guy. Um, and so what we're doing is we are automating um, some of the financial management tasks using technology to provide access more affordably to individuals and small business owners so that way they can get the help that they need to manage their cash flow. So, as a small business owner, you know that your personal finances impact your business finances and your business finances impact your personal. So in the MoneyMate system, there are actually three different subscription types. So you can have an individual subscription, which is $8 a month. You could do the small business subscription, which is $45 a month, or you can use business and personal, which is $50 a month for the beta. So that pricing is also here on our website, but I'll kind of highlight for you all kind of what that entails for each of the subscription types. So, let me know if you can see that screen all right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. So, um, in we do catch up bookkeeping. So if you know you don't want a contract, but you kind of need some help with your books, it's you're in this at time, do it before the fire drills, So I always tell people I don't do fire drills. So let me know if you need some help, happy to help, but I don't do fire drills. So for the catch-up bookkeeping, excuse me, $75 an hour. Most CPAs will charge upwards of $150 an hour for catch-up bookkeeping. So we try to be really affordable and fair, but of course I still have to pay my finance managers and we have operating costs, right? So that covers us kind of doing everything backwards everything in terms of what has happened in the past to kind of get your books up to date. So categorizing of all your past transactions, reconciling your accounts so you have an accurate profit and loss statement and you have an accurate balance sheet. Now, what MoneyMate does is MoneyMate is going to help you to manage your cash flow looking forward. So, there's a lot of accounting systems out there. There's a lot of budgeting systems out there that look backwards. And that's good. That is good for financial statements, but that's not good for planning where your money will go, how you will manage it. You have income, I won't say most people, but I would say a lot of people have multiple income streams. And that can present a challenge when you have income coming in at different times and you have expenses that are due at different times. MoneyMate aligns your income with your expenses so you have a clear plan to know what to pay during which pay period. So as a general rule of thumb, I always ask my small business clients to pay themselves on the 1st and the 15th of the month, and that way you have a set pay frequency. You can assign specific bills to that pay frequency, and that helps you with forecasting. So in that way you can have hard numbers every month to say, okay, by the 1st of the month, I need to have $10,000 in this account to cover payroll. By the 15th of the month, I might need to have $8,000 in the account to cover payroll. And that helps you kind of with your planning purposes, with your sales process, and then it kind of just rolls up for the business, right? So within the beta of MoneyMate, you'll have budgeting and forecasting. You have projected to actual analysis. So you're able to kind of, so the system will look back 90 days and see what your actual spend is, and it will create your operating and personal budgets for you. And then you just have to go in and kind of make adjustments to your income and expense table so it's accurate. So we do our best to probably capture, I'd say, about 85% of your recurring monthly expenses. And that could be whether the frequency is weekly, bi-weekly, semi-monthly, or monthly. We try to grab all that for you and add it to your income and expense table. And then anything we're missing, it shouldn't take you more than 5 to 10 minutes to kind of plug those things in. So in that way, everything is accounted for on your budgets. Within both of the subscription types, you have access to a widget that will show you your projected bill payments, your subscription tracking. We also call out unexpected transaction alerts, which is great for individuals as well as small business owners to kind of track your rising costs. So I don't know about you, but my car insurance is always on the creep up. Comcast is always on the creep up, so it kind of calls those things out so that way you can be aware of it and kind of keep your thumb on the pulse there. And then we also have a goals widget on the overview page that allows you to prioritize your goals. And then I always recommend to assign a goal to an account. So in that way, as you're kind of contributing to this account, you can see on our dashboard how close you are to that goal and how much further you have to go. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna stop sharing, and then I'm gonna log into one of our demonstration accounts, and I will give you a closer peek at what it looks
On
like.
that, I just want to say, as an individual, right? So forget small business owner, but as an individual, $8 a month for the individual fee to be able to get some help, have a peace of mind, right? and feel organized when you're doing all of the personal books, right? Of just the
Right.
household stuff. That is a steal, okay? A
It is.
steal. How can you afford to offer the service at that price point?
So because our technology stack is not like crazy expensive, so we use AWS. Our biggest kind of price point is our cost associated to MX, which is an account aggregator. So every time you log in, we're pulling in updates related to your balances and things like that. So that's generally like where our highest costs are. But that really was my goal, was to be able to provide access to expert financial planning at an affordable cost. Now, of course, as we continue to improve the system, the expenses associated will go up because we do plan to incorporate AI machine learning into the system. Because I would love to get to a point where you can approve your budget and then the system's just going to pay your bills for you. So right now we can't move any money within the platform, but that is a long-term goal of mine, something that we're working towards. And then we're constantly reinvesting our subscription revenue back into the platform.
Very, very good. Something that just popped into my head. So I'm always getting questions from our investors asking, what system do I use to keep track of all the investments that I make, right? And
Yeah,
sadly, I must say, I just have a spreadsheet, right? I don't have anything fancy, right? And
yeah,
I don't even have an up-to-date spreadsheet. So some of my stuff is just still in the email where I got the you have invested email and I'm still waiting, to put it in the fancy spreadsheet.
yeah.
How could MoneyMate help with that? Like, does it could these entries somehow be put in there to kind of track?
I would say probably from the type of investments that you are doing, because they're not like tied to like the S&P or anything, or I'm assuming a lot of them are not, since I
A
know
lot
that
of
you're
them are not. Yeah, a
passionate
lot of them are not. Yeah.
about small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
That would present a challenge for us because right now our account aggregator is providing all the data for us.
Ah,
I
okay.
have not considered, manual entries, because my goal is to get this system to be automated by roughly 80-90%. I
Okay.
really want it to be like a convenient solution. Now, for you all, I have heard of other applications, but they are outside of, they're more so geared towards investments where you can track your cap table and things like that. So
Right.
that is not something that I foresee kind of incorporating in MoneyMate, since that's more so specific to, I guess, investors. Like you can see this account, it does track investments. So if you have like your Charles Schwab accounts, your 401ks and things
Right.
like that, where there's an API that we can pull, that can come into MoneyMate, but we're going to be limited otherwise.
Nice. Okay. Okay. Understood. Very good though.
So in this example, this is an example of a personal account. So you'll see here that the person linked their bank account, that they designated which one is their primary account. So the primary, as we're calling it, is the account that you're using to pay your bills. So I typically, and this is just a recommendation for your group, is I recommend that people do not swipe debit cards for the account that your bills are being paid out of. So that means you need two checking accounts, a checking account for your bills and a checking account for your spending money. And what that does is that allows you to cap your spending. So, some of my clients, we might put a lump sum of $1,800 a month into that account, and they're responsible for making sure that that $1,800 lasts from the 1st to the 30th. Some
Mm,
of my clients like to have a weekly distribution from the bill pay account. So I would literally set up a transfer from their bill pay account to their spending account every Monday for $500. Then that way you can develop a cadence, right, of understanding what it feels like. Even if you don't check your account daily, which is something that I recommend, you get on social media, check those bank accounts. And especially if you have that account that's separated from your spending from your bills, it's real easy to be like, oh, I got $200 left. Let me make sure I take it easy these next couple of days until my next transfer takes place. And what that does for you is that avoids you having to track pennies and $9 transactions and $12 transactions. And that's what a lot of the applications out there will have you to do. And we don't do that, MoneyMate. We don't care about your disposable income. I tell clients you can drive down the street and throw it out the window for all I care. All I care about is what happens in the bill pay account, what goes into the savings stays in the savings unless there's a true emergency. And that's how we're designing MoneyMate.
Nice.
So as you can see, the person linked their accounts. So once they link their accounts, then this table here gets filled in for you. I'm gonna zoom in for you. So this user, for example, has a weekly expense that they're paying for aftercare for their children. It's a manual payment that they need to make each week. They might have Apple iTunes. We all know that this is generally a monthly expense and it's automated. So you would simply update that to show that it's an automatic payment. Same thing with Best Buy, car note, for example. You want to allocate things like gas for your car. How much does it cost for you to fill up each week? Plug it in. How much are you spending on groceries each week? Plug it in. And this is also great for couples, right? Because a lot of people, unfortunately, don't communicate as well as they should about their finances. And if you both are plugging in things into MoneyMate for things that are going to happen in the future as you become aware of them, then it keeps everybody on the same accord in terms of what expenses you all have coming up. So maybe you're signing your kid up for soccer. Maybe you've got a doctor copay for a surgery or a trip or whatever. You can plug it all in. And then there's a bunch of different frequencies. So you can choose from a weekly expense to monthly, semi-monthly, bi-weekly, quarterly, annually. You know, a lot of people get surprised by their taxes, right? We know that they're going to happen every year. A lot of people are surprised by their HOA dues that are not paid quarterly or monthly, and they're annual. So they forget to plan for that. Even like the holidays. We had our clients saving for the holidays in September because there's no reason that you should be going into the new year taking on debt for a single day of the year if you plan proactively.
Right.
So we get all of our clients to do that. And this is same thing type of information that we'll be coaching our users to do. So as we continue to kind of make these enhancements in the system, you'll see those tips and tricks and things based on what we know is coming up for you. Like, hey, you know, maybe, like I said, 3 months before the holidays, we'll send an email to say, hey, don't forget to plug in your upcoming holiday expenses. So even if you don't know the hard numbers, it's better to plug in something as a placeholder so that way you can see the impact to your future budget. So maybe you haven't bought the plane tickets, but you know generally plane tickets for the holidays are going to cost around $700. Go ahead and plug it in. So in this example, this user can see that they have $1,002 available. They can see the expenses that they're expecting to debit from their bill pay account between this pay period. So this is from, you can see the current budgeting period here is November 30th through November 14th. And so in that way, they can easily see like which payments are manual, which payments are automated. Once you schedule them through your bill pay system, which is something I highly recommend using, because in that way, all your payments are consolidated in a single place. And it's nice and easy. You don't have to log into 10,000 different places or make all these different phone calls. My mom always says, I'm doing my bills. I said, what are you doing to the bills? Why? I don't understand. Like, why does it take, why are bills an all day thing for you, ma'am? She's like, I'm doing my bills. I'm like,
I am your mom.
yeah, I'm like, all you need is MoneyMate, so you know what to pay when, and you log into your online bill pay, plug in the amount, and press send, and they all will go out, and you're done. So your bills should not take more than 15 minutes to do your bills.
I suspect that mom and I are sitting here writing checks.
So, you know, and again, trying to get you out of the Excel to give you something that's going to work smarter for you, not harder. Again, so like when you schedule your payments, you could just mark these ones as scheduled so that way you know what's been scheduled, maybe what ones you haven't quite scheduled yet. Boom, it's highlighted for you and it keeps you updated. MoneyMate also reconciles. Right now, our reconciliation logic, I'd say is around 40 or 50%, but we did just recently start software development again because of an investment that we got. So we'll be doing development over the next 4 months. So we should be pushing to production every week. So you'll see continued enhancements with regard to the reconciliation logic, other kind of tips and things that'll be popping up. We're adding a super great feature to the transactions tab, which is what I love. So if you see something new that will recur, you'll be able to click on it, and then there'll be a button here that'll say add to my income and expense table, and it'll add it for you automatically. So those kind of like little smart things, which will continue to enhance our user experience, are all going to be happening over the next 4 months. So I'm super excited. And again, projected budgets. So future budgets are huge. So in that way, you see how it outlines it. These aftercare expenses are paid weekly. So now you can see everything that you have that needs to go out, and you can plan appropriately for them. So that is,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, sure.
I was just going to say, how does MoneyMate help, or show an example of how MoneyMate helps with someone who's trying to get out of debt, right? So they've got credit card debt. How would they kind of use this and set this up?
Yeah, great question. So on your income and expense table, there's these additional fields, which is what a lot of people don't pay attention to, right? So initially, I've learned when I do an initial consult, it used to be super painful because I'd have to have people fill out everything that's in the income and expense table in Excel spreadsheet. So now we've cut down on that time, right? But this particular page is so important, because if you fill it in thoroughly, you can see everything as it relates to your finances. So ideally, say, for example, this is your car note. You would want to absolutely plug in what your car balance is, right? And then you'd want to plug in the fact that you might have a 7.25% interest rate. As we are continuing to enhance the system, we'll be able to make recommendations for you based on what you told us your goals are. So if you have a 7.25% interest rate on your car loan, and then you have, for example, on American Express or Best Buy. Oh, Best Buy's interest rates are nuts. So say you have a Best Buy interest rate that's 27.99% interest rate, and you've got a $3,100 balance in it. Some people might think, oh yeah, let me just, pay down the car note or whatever, but we'll make recommendations to tell you, hey, you can save the most money if you make your minimum payments on all of your expenses, but focus on throwing all your extra cash at Best Buy. So the more these fields are filled in, the better we can do about making recommendations to users to help you to cut your costs when it comes to your finance fees and to make other recommendations. So even when it comes to your credit card, maybe you put in the fact that this Best Buy card has a balance of $3,100, but maybe it's got a $10,000 limit. Let's pretend it's your American Express. We can say, hey, check your American Express to see if there's a balance transfer offer available, because you have $7,000 available and you've got $7,000 over here at 18%. Do a balance transfer for 0% for 18 months, and you can save on all those interests. So we can use the information from the income and expense table to make some really, really smart recommendations using AI machine learning based off of the strategies that we've honed over the last decade. So that's where we're headed.
I love that. That's what people need, right? It's hand holding, but through tech. I mean, you've really transferred all of those financial advisor tips into MoneyMate to do the heavy lifting. Wow.
Yeah, and I would love to, you know what I'm saying, be able to quantify for somebody to say, hey, if you do this balance transfer, you're going to save X amount of dollars. Because that's what gets people to move, right? Being able to really kind of quantify. Because maybe you can't, you're like, it's only $61 in interest. But when you look at that interest over 3 years, over 5 years, over 10 years, that it might take you to pay off that debt if you continue to make the minimum, that can really encourage people to be like, wait a minute, there is no way I'm giving American Express this much money.
Right. Very, very good. Guys, don't be shy. You can feel free to ask Elaine any questions as well. Miss Beulah says her credit union pays her bills. That's interesting.
Yeah, so do they pay it through your, are you saying it like through your bill pay system, or how are you processing those payments, or how are they?
And if anyone wants to ask Elena a question and come, we take you, put you on audio. You don't have to come on camera if you don't want to, but you can definitely, we can open up the audio for you if it's easier to ask the question versus typing it. Or you said through her bill pay is what she says.
Yes. Yep. So it's a great feature. I love bill pay. I love it because a lot of people don't know it exists. So then they spend so much time making payments. And you just set up your pays one time in the bill pay system. And then that way, if you ever have a dispute over whether or not somebody did or didn't receive a payment, you can literally just go through your bill pay and export that activity for that single payee.
This is one of those mindset issues, and I'm gonna come clean, right? There was a time when all my ducks were not in a row, right? And
Right.
I was, robbing Peter to pay Paul and hustling to get it done. And there's still a part of me, I think, that has that mindset. I have issues with bill pay and automated payments because and say so used to because it's probably been about 20 years, but psychologically, I'm like, I don't want to commit to this bill pay because if I ever have to move things around and, do what I know how to do, then I can't do that if I've given them permission to kind of take things and pay it. And I've been I know that about myself and I've been struggling with it, trying to work on it. But it definitely is a mindset shift that I need to work closer on because I'm stuck there. It's just like
So
I
bill pay does allow you to have
control.
control, whereas the automatic payments, you don't have control, right? Unless you
Mm,
contact them within that 3 to 7 days where they can make changes to the automatic draft. But bill pay, you have 100% control. So some bill pay allow you to set up a recurring automatic payment, but you don't have to. You can literally go in there and plug it in manually, and then the payment will be sent out 1 to 2 days later for you. Some slower banks are slow to pay, so it might take up to a week. But I always tell people you can kind of plug in your pays ahead of time and then the amounts, and then it'll tell you when the payment will be sent out. So you'll see kind of what that window is for that particular pay. So usually like larger companies, Comcast, Bank of America, whomever, most bill pay systems will send the payment out within 2 days. So Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, those are all because they're sending the payments via ACH. Smaller credit unions and things like that are going to mail a physical check. So you might have to plan for, a 5 to 10 day runway when it comes to mailing out those payments.
very, very good. That's good to know. Latrice says exactly. She said automated payments. Yes, I have issues with that as well. And then Patrice says, I'm in the same check writing boat. I don't want anyone taking money out of my accounts. Me neither, Patrice. I just can't do it. I struggle with it. I think I do like a bill pay on a couple of things. What are you gonna say, Talisha? Talisha, were you saying something?
No, ma'am.
Oh, okay. I I do one automated payment and it just drives me and I do it for a trip that I'm taking. And I do my trip on the automated payment. And I tell you, every time it comes out, I grumble. Like I'm like, oh, like I
Years.
because if it didn't come out, I may not have paid, like I may have done something else.
Right, right. But that's why, you need it on your radar, right? But you probably wouldn't if you were using MoneyMate and you had it on your radar, right? So that way it wouldn't be so much of a surprise for you,
Right.
because you would be expecting it.
Yeah, that's
So,
a very good point.
but yeah, the bill pay gives you total control. So you can stop, start payments, move the date around, whatever you need to do. Through your bill pay. So let me show you an example for small business owners. So for example, this is where am I back to screen sharing? So this is what the budget looks like for small business owners. And this one you'll see has added rows. So it's important for a small business owner to understand what their projected amounts are. So this is what makes you stay in budget, right? So if you know you make $50,000 every month, your expenses should be less than 50,000, right? Especially if you are going to build up any savings reserves for the business, especially if you want to allocate funds for your taxes, for your estimated quarterly tax payments. All that is important to have some money left over to do, right? So it's important at the top of each month that you know what your projected amounts are. And then as you're going through the months, you should be tracking your actual spend. So right now, when you link your business accounts to MoneyMate, again, it's going to fill in your income and expense table for you. You'll add anything that's missing, and then you'll be able to see your updated operating budget. So for example, this user, let's say that they have a hair salon. This user has already paid their American Express. They're expecting these automatic payments to come out. These payments are manual. You'll notice it's the same information because it's a test account. But what I did here for the future budget in January, they're hiring somebody. So now they're going to have payroll expenses. Whether this be your payroll expenses, contractors, whomever, you can plug in your total amount that you're planning for your payroll expenses, and then you can see the month ahead how much more money you need to earn to be able to balance this particular budget. So again, super, super important to be tracking your variable costs, your fixed costs in a single place so you can kind of see them all. For example, if this one, say this one was over and their actual spend was 500, it would then highlight the deficit here. So this tells you, okay, I've had to overpay my American Express by $500. So maybe I need to cut back on food and dining by 500 because you want to stay within the original limit that you set for your projected cost. So that's why it's important for you to know where you're running over each month so you can make adjustments for your outstanding amounts to keep yourself on track to reach those financial goals.
Nice. That is very, very good.
And then again, you'll have notifications, so it'll call out anything that's unexpected for you. You can add the expense using this button. It'll add it to the I&E table, so the system will expect it for future payments, or you can dismiss it and it won't update your income and expense table at all.
Very nice. Don't you guys love how this is kind of dual purpose, right? You can use it individually, but also for the business. And think about those people who are small business owners, and how going to this one place, like even though it's two separate profiles, so to speak, right? You're looking at it through different lenses. It's all in this one system. I mean, I just love this. I see some thumbs up. Yeah, I just absolutely love this.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's so important just to be able to kind of really keep a thumb on your pulse with your finances, because 82% of small businesses fail in the first 5 years. So, nobody goes into small business loving the fact that they have to do accounting and administrative tasks, but the goal is to, again, work as efficiently as possible, and Excel is not going to allow you to do that. So, we are creating this tool based on our user feedback. And based on, our usage of it too, as stakeholders, as finance managers, supporting these small businesses and individuals, based on, what we think would work better or what we'd like or love to see. So like this box here is going to be improved. One of my clients was like, well, how much are my expenses from this pay period? And I was like, that's a good question. So I was like, we're about to add that. So, they wanted to see what their average standard expenses are compared to what maybe like their total expenses are, right? Because you might have some one-time expenses, some quarterly expenses, and annual expenses, but they wanted to know like, okay, I'm planning, one of my clients is an event planner. She works with the US Open. She works with Nike, with Cantu. So she's got these great big budgets for all these different projects. But at the end of the day, we still have to pay her on the 15th and the last day of each month. So being able to understand like what her business cash flow looks like, allocating on these line items, how much she needs for project 1, for project 2, how much she needs a reserve for Nike. So that way she doesn't overspend funds that are for one specific event and then not have enough for another. It's so important to be able to track those business expenses and to understand where your money is going.
I love that you've got some investment money infused so you can make some of these upgrades that you've been thinking about. That's
Oh
awesome.
yeah. Yeah, I met a guy at Invest Fest, so he likes small businesses and stuff, and so we had a good conversation there. And he's a vet. He and his wife are really kind of into tech too, so they decided to invest.
That is wonderful.
Yes.
Any other questions for Elena? This is good. Talisha, did you have any questions there?
So I use like personal capital. That's one of the kind of tech that I do love tech to manage everything. And I do that to, the two accounts to make I move one to the other, make sure my bill pay. And I think that's another aspect to it too, for those who feel like that you're not in control. That account is only for the bills. So that's why it's kind of like a dump. I just put that money there. I don't care. I know it's going to have a certain amount every month, so I keep it there. So that's why that's helpful. But I wanted to see, like, I do like the fact that you're giving information, because that's the deficit of personal capital. It's just giving me a snapshot. It's not giving
Yeah.
me other information. So I did like that part of MoneyMate much more better in that sense.
And it's
Yeah,
not
well,
doing
thank you.
forward forecasting, right? It's just looking at what you plug in for the past. It's not looking forward.
It's real time. So anytime I'm doing something, it's giving me a snapshot of where I am at this
Yeah.
exact moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so during our development, we're actually going to be showing future budgets out to 6 months for business and personal.
That's
And then
wonderful.
we're also going to grab a snapshot of past budgets. So in that way you can export those and save those as well.
That is a wonderful feature.
Yes.
Mhm.
Super excited about that. So yes, I'm definitely looking forward to what MoneyMate will look like in March.
I love it.
But yeah.
So let's go back to the slide if you can, of how anyone interested can be a customer, right? And look at those packages again for them.
Yeah, sure.
And then talk a little bit about, if someone is interested, what would they need to get together, right? I think about, I get nervous if I think about, God, what are they going to ask me for? Do I have everything they need to see? Oh, I'm so ashamed. I'm not good at keeping it, right? All those things that people say to kind of get in their own way. How
Yep.
easy is it to onboard? What type of documentation will people need?
Yeah, no, great question. So the pricing is here on our website. The website is ehmoneymate.com. And you can see the different pricing that we offer here for the subscription services and what they include. And then to onboard, we really want to make it as easy as possible. So once you create your profile, it'll ask you simply, username, password, email address. You plug in those details here, you save it. It'll go through a questionnaire, and it's going to ask you how much you're spending for grooming each month, how much you're spending. Do you have any childcare costs? Do you have any pet costs? Because those are the things like people forget about. And pets can be expensive. I was spending like $150 a month between grooming and pet food, and that stuff adds up. So we go through a questionnaire to kind of get to know you and ask about things that you might forget while you're in the midst of kind of setting things up. So what I generally recommend is, once you link your accounts, just to see if you've missed anything from your income and expense table, just to look through your transactions. So your transactions will tell you a lot about, what has happened in the last 90 days, and you can export it too. So you can export this to an Excel file, and then I would just say look over the export to see, just to make sure that you didn't miss anything. So it could be as easy as you just kind of combing through to say like, okay, none of these are going to recur. These are one time. And you just want to look over 90 days to see if you missed anything, and then anything that's missing from the income and expense table, you just plug it in.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah,
Very
so like
good.
I said, ideally, the way that we wrote the logic for grabbing the transactions is we want to grab more than less. So in that way, it's a wider cast net, because it's much easier to delete the junk that comes in by just clicking this delete button and you're done, as opposed to if you have to manually add stuff, You know, you've got to fill in all these fields that are applicable to whatever you're adding. So we do our best, like I said, to try to grab about 85% of the things that are recurring and consistent as it relates to your transactions.
Nice. Very, very good.
But you shouldn't have to pull together a whole bunch of other stuff. You might need, if you were the type of person that, I have a client, she has had a tree business for a long time, but her finances are in disarray. So she's always making catch-up payments, which can impact what MoneyMate pulls in, right? So if the amounts are always changing, the dates already changing, we're going to miss that. So in those occasions, you will want your statements available for any loans that you have, just to make sure that you're plugging in the right due date, you know, your interest rate, your limits, all that. Your statements for any liabilities are going to make it really nice and easy for you to kind of plug in the information related to your account balance, interest rates, any past due amounts that you have, credit limits, things like that. You'll be surprised. A lot of people, like I said, when I was initially doing it where they had to do so much manually, they had like, I had no idea I had this. I had no idea I had that. And I
Yeah.
told them just look at your last 90 days and you'll see a lot about your finances.
I'm scared to do that part.
Yeah, so yeah, export it from MoneyMate. You can sort it by the payee and then just compare the export to the payee names here. Should take no more than 10 or 15 minutes to get it all in there.
Very good, guys. As we start thinking about the year in review and making New Year's resolutions and just deciding to have better finances, more organized, right? Really think about saving, all the things. Watch it, thinking about our spending habits, as we typically do that, some level of that at the end of the year. So now is the time to really consider, do you have the tools you need already to do that? Or would MoneyMate be able to assist? Again, if you just did the individual, something like $8 a month could be the help that you need at a really, what I think is a really affordable cost. I mean, it's, you know, it's a not a cup of coffee one day, right? If you're a coffee drinker, or
yeah, I want it to be less than what people spend at Starbucks.
Yeah, well,
for my individual users.
You did that. That's wonderful. Yeah, not a piece of dessert if you go out to dinner, right? I mean, you
Right.
really made it affordable to find the money to pay for this. So there would be, you know, very few excuses that could be made.
Yeah, and
you didn't get
even
this
whether
thing ready.
that's, you know, setting aside reserves for, you know, future investments that you all might do together, the whole thing, just, you know, having it, you know, I tell people when you start proactively planning for your finances, you're going to see a tremendous amount of difference. And one of my clients has been with me for 2 years. She swore she didn't have any money. When we started working together, she had like $300 in her savings. She was a single mom. She's a teacher. In the last 2 years, this lady has remodeled her whole bathroom. She has done car repairs over $3,000. We're now saving to put a new roof on her house. She's got $14,000 in the savings just for the roof. Like, girl, you had the money, you just weren't paying attention to where it was going. And so now she's like, I need my new car next. Like, okay, let's tell me what's next, because we're almost to the 20,000 that you need for this new roof.
I love that. I mean, just even the little tip you gave about the 2 checking accounts, right?
It's
Not
huge.
using the debit card out. I mean,
That's a
that
game
alone.
changer.
Yeah,
That's
I'm thinking about that in the back of my mind, and I'm like, oh, I don't do that.
And when I tell you that's a gem right there, like that alone, just organizing your finances, you know, I don't deal with messy finances. So any new client, the first thing we're doing was organizing finances. We're consolidating all of your automatic payments to a single checking account. If you have automatic payments, but even your bill payments, all in one checking account. That way, whatever you put in there stays in there. It's not, you don't have to worry about like, oh, did I spend too much? And then I still got my utility bill coming out, whatever. Whole separate account. That way you've got those boundaries in place and you can just schedule those payments and let them go.
This is wonderful, Elena. This
and I also tell people
wonderful.
too, don't hang on to money. It doesn't matter if you get paid for example, this Friday, your bill's not due for another week, stop hanging on to the money. You're going to have to pay it anyway. On your payday, pay all your bills on the same day for that pay period. Pay all of them. Don't pay a bill today and 2 days later pay another bill and 3 days later pay another. Pay all the bills.
It's okay to pay them
Everything else,
early, right? It's
just
okay.
get them out. You're less likely to dip into it or whatever. If it's gone, just get it paid. Just rip the Band-Aid off.
That's really good advice. That really is. Yeah, because sometimes we don't, oh, it's not due till the 17th. I'll just hold it. But
Stop that.
Well, you got to pay it. So go ahead and pay it now.
Stop it.
She said, stop it. This has been great. What great advice you've given us. And then just the system that you've built. I know this is going to help a lot of people. Any questions? I see another comment, but I see some hand claps. Any questions you guys have for Elaine? Listen, she's dropping gems. We may want to tap in and get some advice. What questions do you guys have before we say good night? Latrice says, how do you guys adjusting for the winter months with gas and light bills? Very good question.
Yeah, so that is a good question. What you can do in MoneyMate is just simply adjust the amount. You know your bills are going to go higher, right? And a lot of times you can look at what happened last year and it'll give you kind of an idea of what is going to happen this year, right? So we know, especially depending on where you are located geographically, some of these utility bills can go crazy. I got clients in Detroit, I got clients in Chicago, and these gas bills will be like whole car notes. Yeah. And, the summer months are much, much lighter. So you have to plan for that accordingly, plug it into your budget before it's actually happening. So that way you can see the impact to the bottom line, because it might be that your utility bill went up and now you got to cut back on meals and entertainment. Maybe you can't go out as much during the winter months. So maybe invite friends over, have wine, just, do things that don't have to cost an arm and a leg to offset those higher spending. But you will only know when you need to do that if you're planning ahead. If you're not planning ahead, it's going to be a surprise every time. Every year you go, oh, surprise, oh, surprise, oh, surprise. Like, we knew this was going to happen, right? So we got to start making adjustments ahead of time. And I tell people it does not have to be a long, drawn out, painful thing. Once you get your budget in place, it literally should take you all of 5 minutes. And I tell people, look at your calendar. Your calendar is a good indicator of what money you're going to be spending when. So if you know you got a doctor's appointment on the 19th, if you know you're going to, the Hawks game on the 23rd, if you know, plug those things into your budget. It's the variable cost that kills budgets. It's not your fixed cost. So if you can get in the habit of looking 30 days out, plugging it in, and then seeing if you've got a surplus or a deficit, you can modify your behavior. So like this past weekend, I went to Charlotte to visit with my cousin. I knew I was going to spend more money. I give myself $350 a week for my spending money. So last week I just had to take it light. I just couldn't go out like I would normally go out to dinner with girlfriends. I had to chill because I was like, I know I'm about to go to Charlotte and we're going to have a good time. So, you just have to think about what's coming up and adjust accordingly.
Very good point. Very good point. Very nice. So I'm proud of myself because I've been doing that with something and I didn't associate it with that. So I'm getting ready to change my hairstyle. So I'm getting ready to get sister locks. And she want a grip for these sister locks, right? I mean, she want like 2 mortgage payments to do this darn hairstyle. And so I've been just wearing I haven't been to the salon all of the month of November and December so that I can pick. I'm typically a go every week kind of girl, but I'm like, you can't go every week and still give her what she's asking for when it's time to get this style. So I've been saving, and so that's why this ponytail is doing what it's doing, right?
Hey, you got but
I didn't even associate it with okay, I just navigated the budget in a very smart way. It is. I feel good about myself now.
Good. And even seasonality is huge, right? So landscaping businesses are impacted by cold seasons. So important for you to plan ahead. You know that the winter is coming. You know the winter was coming in February. You know the winter is coming every year. So if you know that your business income is going to drop $3,000 during that time frame, you need to reserve that money in advance to help, cover costs during the slow
Right.
season, so that way it doesn't hit you so hard. A lot of people get hit hard by these seasons, and it's like, we knew the season was coming, but the problem was you were spending early in the year like it wasn't.
Yeah.
And you needed
Yeah.
to
It all
have
comes down to the
9,
budget.
12,000 saved before that time period. Exactly.
It all comes down like we want to complicate this thing, right? But it truly all comes down to the budget.
Yep. Very true. They say what is it? Plan to fail or fail to plan?
Yeah. Yeah. What'd you say, Talisha? Live and die by the budget? Yeah, that's what it sounds
I
like.
have learned that forever. That is my mantra, and I do it. They have no problem with the budget is the budget. Like we always say, the Pittsburgh Steelers said, the standard is the standard, the budget is the budget. It doesn't change. It is what it is, and you have to abide by it. There's no,
You gotta adjust.
yeah, you got to do what you got to do to make the budget work.
Yeah. Sometimes my clients like, I only have $20. Sit down. Go sit down somewhere. You had
Go
too much
sit
fun.
down.
You had too much fun. Go sit down. Go see what's on Netflix.
You be telling me to go sit down.
Yeah, like think about those great memories that you already had earlier this month. Go sit down.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we all need an Elena and a MoneyMate in our life, okay?
Don't worry, I'm coming. I'm gonna be a software form sending text message. MoneyMate's gonna be sending text messages to you and everything. My client's like, you don't want to get a text from Elena. I'm like, call me. Call me now.
Call me now. I love it. Oh my goodness, my dear, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for coming
So
to
happy
talk
to be
to us about
here. So happy to
MoneyMate.
be here.
I really, really appreciate it. The community appreciates it. We're gonna email this out, and hopefully people rewatch the replay because they're gonna miss a gem if they don't. I mean, for anyone looking for help, right? Feeling lost, feeling like you're never gonna get a handle on things. This system, we just saw it, right? We just saw how it can change our way of thinking and helping us navigate the budgeting process, which then facilitates the saving process, which then facilitates the getting out of credit card debt process, right? Which then facilitates
Yes.
I have
Wealth
enough
building.
money for disposable income and wealth building. Yeah.
Right. Wealth building. And if I could leave you all with anything, especially for people that are overwhelmed by their finances, starting is the hardest thing. It's the hardest thing. That's the hardest part. Once you start, it's not going to be as bad. I have a lot of people that, will follow me on Facebook or wherever and say, I've been watching you for years. I wanted to reach out, but I had to do this first. You don't have to, because my finance managers and I this is what we do every day. Like, you can spin your wheels cleaning it up, or we can clean it up much faster for you. And I tell people, when it comes to finances, it's like turning around a cruise ship. It's not going to turn around overnight. It turns around slowly, but you have to be consistent. You have to be disciplined, and it will turn around, but it doesn't happen overnight. So I always try to set those realistic expectations. And then also say, reach out for help before we're in the 9th hour. We can't do magic. You still got to have enough money left over for us to be able to maneuver. So if you have taking out payday loans and you're doing this and you're doing all these afterpays, if you see yourself starting to do afterpay, that should be a red flag for you. If you have to break up payments, that's a red flag for you that your finances and your cash flow is too tight.
Good point. Very good point. Yeah, Tracy said, great analogy. Very, very good. Latrice said the only way to save money is to stay home and sleep. I hope you are wrong.
Well, look, a lot of people learned that during COVID, right? Stay at home will save you a whole lot of money.
We did save a lot of money during COVID. That is true.
Right, a lot of money. But it's a balance. I tell people it's about finding the balance between responsible and excessive spending. A lot of people associate budgets to feeling like they can't have a life, they can't do things. I have clients that have facials in their budgets. I have clients that have you know, different things that they enjoy, golf, whatever, plug it in. You don't just plug it in. There's no rules for your budget. Whatever you do, whatever you enjoy, plug it in so you can see the impact. And maybe you just need to scale back a little bit. Maybe it's just like, oh, I can't go golfing every weekend. I can go golfing every other weekend. But you don't know like what's happening with your bottom line until you're looking at everything holistically.
Very good. Well, thank you so very much. We are going to scream about MoneyMate from the rooftops because I absolutely love it. Talisha, we need to put this in the Facebook group so people can have the website if they're looking, you know, for solutions for themselves. I really think about all those people, right? As you will start seeing the post about what's your New Year's resolution. We're going to start seeing those any day now, right?
Yeah, the vision board parties, the whole nine.
Yeah, the whole nine. So instead of that being kind of what we do, T-Shine, we need to say in preparation, right, for your resolutions and for your vision boards, here's a solution. Maybe that should be our post in the morning so people can see where to go in advance to get the help that they need. So Lena, thank you so much to you and your team for pulling this all together and making it the best it can be. I'm super, super excited. I can't wait for March, right? When you get all the enhancements in, I can't wait what this looks like in March. So I'm excited to see it again then. But in the meantime, thank you so much for all your hard work. Keep up the hard work. Even some of the stories you're sharing about your clients, you've definitely made an impact. Money struggles and money worries are definitely rough, right? It's one of the leading problems in marriages. It's one of the leading reasons people commit suicide, right? And so
yes, it's very serious.
It's really, I mean, we're kind of laughing and joking about some of the problems, but managing finances is really something huge. And it is when you are stressed about it, nothing else matters, right? And people don't feel a way out of it. And so you truly are saving lives with this solution, right? I don't say that lightly. You are definitely making lives better and probably saving some marriages too, right?
I definitely have saved a few marriages.
Yeah. So, you know, just thank you for the work that you're doing. I know the people that you're working with appreciate it. Just from another founder to, you know, from one founder to another, I appreciate the work that you're doing and admire the work that you saw a problem and you built a solution. And that is absolutely amazing. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
With us.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate the invite. It's great to meet everybody and speak to everybody. So if we can help in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Everybody have a wonderful evening. We appreciate you guys. Tomorrow we do have a pitch presentation, so we hope to see you back tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow night's founder is one of our very own 10K project members. So nice. You always get super excited when a member comes and pitches, because I feel like as a community, we got to rally around our members even harder and stronger. So please come out tomorrow and share the evening with us at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Sharnetta said, nice software.
Thank you.
And everybody have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you for spending time with us this evening. And I love each and every one of you. Good night.
All right. Take care. Good night. Bye-bye.